Hash 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 the whispering pines. The wind howled through the trees, a mournful sound that mingled with the crackling of the campfire. A group of friends sat huddled near the flickering flames, their laughter chased away by the chill of the night. They had chosen to spend the long weekend in Whispering Pines, a dense forest known for its towering trees and dark legends. None of them really believed in the stories that spoke of Wendigos, monstrous spirits driven by insatiable hunger. They were just tales, after all, meant to scare children and amuse adults. Jess, the group's self-appointed leader, leaned closer to the fire. "Okay, who wants to hear a spooky story?" she asked, her eyes sparkling with mischief. The others groaned playfully, but their curiosity sparked. "Come on, it's probably about time we heard something," Sam encouraged, his face illuminated by the firelight. Jess took a deep breath, her expression turning serious. "All right," she began, casting her eyes around the dimly lit campsite. "There once was a man who lived in these woods a century ago, driven mad from isolation. One harsh winter, starving and desperate, he sought help from his neighbors. When they refused him, he turned to darker options, hunting for what he could find. They say he consumed the flesh of the dead, and in doing so, he became a Wendigo. His soul twisted into a monster that haunts these woods, eternally searching for those who wander too far." The fire crackled, sending sparks into the air as Jess's voice dipped into a whisper. She leaned in conspiratorially. "They say if you hear the wind calling your name, it's already too late." "Very cute, Jess," Mia scoffed, but her voice trembled slightly. "Anyone else hear that?" As the group shared skeptical glances, a strange rustling emerged from behind the trees, almost like a whisper carried by the wind. The laughter faded, and unease settled over them like an invisible fog. "Just the wind," Sam said, though his bravado faltered. Suddenly, the air turned cold, as if the earth itself was exhaling a frosty breath. The fire sputtered and dimmed, shadows creeping around the campsite. Jess chuckled nervously, trying to shake off the tension. "Okay, let's just get back to having fun." But as the hours wore on and the wood dwindled, the shadows seemed to grow bolder. Mia insisted on checking the tents, while Sam and Jess began tossing logs into the fire, trying to stave off the encroaching dark. Suddenly, Mia gasped, her hands shaking. "Guys, come here." They approached her, and there, at the edge of the clearing, lay a series of deep footprints, large, misshapen, and far too wide for any human. They led deeper into the woods, seemingly fresh. Jess felt a shiver run down her spine. "Those can't be real, can they?" "Let's just stay here," Sam suggested, the bravado fading from his voice. "It's probably just some animal." "Probably," Jess echoed, but inside, doubt gnawed at her. As night deepened, the winds grew restless. A low growl shuddered through the darkness, making the hairs on the back of their necks stand on end. The sound was an eerie blend of hunger and despair, echoing through the pines. Suddenly, Jess screamed, pointing into the shadows. "Look!" A pale creature stood just beyond the forest's edge, its emaciated body contorted unnaturally, eyes glowing with an otherworldly hunger. It didn't approach, and yet its presence filled the air with dread. The legends of the Wendigo chattered in Jess's mind, tales of a spirit that fed off the lost, the desperate, and the cold-hearted. "Mia, let's go, now," Sam shouted, panic snapping through his voice. They stumbled back toward the fire, but the Wendigo only watched, its breath misting in the air. As the friends scrambled to gather their things, the creature let out a bone-chilling screech that echoed through the trees. Jess felt an icy grip clutch her heart. She had heard the wind calling before, and she had ignored it. In the chaos, Mia slipped and fell, her eyes wide with terror as she scrambled to get up. The Wendigo shifted closer, its skeletal frame bending with every movement. "No, Mia, don't," Jess cried, but it was too late. The creature lunged. The roar of wind drowned out the scream that followed, enveloping them in a whirlwind of chaos as the forest seemed to come alive. Jess and Sam darted toward the tents, desperate to escape, but the path was shrouded in shadow. With every step, the whispering voices of the forest called out, taunting, teasing, as the Wendigo pursued, driven by a hunger that went beyond the physical. They ducked behind lingering trees, but nothing could hide them from the truth. Something dark lingered in the woods. Frantically, Jess stumbled into a clearing, clutching Sam's hand. "We can't let it take us. We need to split up," she gasped. "Are you out of your mind?" Sam protested. "We stick together." "No, we're making it worse," she countered, and with a final plan formed, they dashed in opposite directions, with the Wendigo tearing through the trees behind them. But Jessie could feel it prowling, its darkness wrapping around her heart. It was hungry, and she was lost. The night grew silent once more. The campfire had died down to embers, and the forest encased the remains of a once jovial spirit. The only remnants of laughter were carried away in the wind. In Whispering Pines, 2 friends were taken that night, and those that remained would carry their secrets, never to utter a word again, lest they, too, become the echoes of a Wendigo's call.